The Book of Ruth is one of the shorter books in the Old Testament of the Bible, consisting of only 4 chapters. It is a narrative that tells the story of Ruth, a Moabite woman, and her journey from widowhood and poverty to a position of honor and prosperity in Bethlehem. The Book of Ruth is not only a beautiful love story, but also a significant piece of biblical literature that explores themes such as loyalty, kindness, redemption, and the providence of God. Here is a detailed explanation of the Book of Ruth. Chapter 1: Naomi's family in Moab. The story begins during the time of the judges in Israel when there was a famine in the land of Bethlehem. A man named Elimelech, his wife Naomi, and their 2 sons, Mahlon and Kilion, leave Bethlehem to live in the neighboring country of Moab. While in Moab, Elimelech dies, leaving Naomi a widow. Her sons then marry Moabite women, Ruth and Orpah. Tragically, both Mahlon and Kilion also die, leaving Naomi with no husband or sons. Naomi hears that the famine in Bethlehem is over, so she decides to return to her homeland. Chapter 2: Ruth gleans in the field of Boaz. Naomi, Ruth, and Orpah begin their journey back to Bethlehem. Along the way, Naomi encourages Orpah and Ruth to return to their families in Moab and remarry. Orpah tearfully says goodbye, but Ruth refuses to leave Naomi. She famously declares, "Where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God my God." They arrive in Bethlehem during the barley harvest, and Ruth goes to the fields to glean grain for their sustenance. She ends up in the field belonging to a wealthy and kind man named Boaz, who is a relative of Naomi. Chapter 3: Ruth and Boaz at the threshing floor. Naomi devises a plan to secure Ruth's future. She instructs Ruth to go to the threshing floor where Boaz is working and to lie down at his feet after he has finished eating and drinking. Ruth follows Naomi's instructions, and when Boaz awakens and finds her at his feet, he is impressed by her loyalty and virtue. He agrees to fulfill the role of the kinsman redeemer, a custom in Israel that involves marrying the widow of a deceased relative to ensure the family's inheritance remains intact. Chapter 4: Boaz redeems Ruth. Boaz goes to the town gate, where legal matters were often handled in ancient Israel, and discusses Ruth's situation with the other elders and a closer relative who has a claim on Ruth's family's land. Boaz presents the situation to the closer relative, who initially agrees to redeem the land and marry Ruth. However, when Boaz informs him that this includes acquiring Ruth as his wife and continuing the family name, the relative declines. Boaz then redeems the land and marries Ruth, and they have a son named Obed. Naomi is overjoyed, as Obed will carry on the family name and provide for her in her old age. The Book of Ruth ends with a genealogy, showing how Obed, the son of Ruth and Boaz, becomes the grandfather of King David. Key themes and lessons from the Book of Ruth. Loyalty and kindness. The story of Ruth exemplifies the virtues of loyalty, kindness, and selflessness. Ruth's loyalty to Naomi and her kindness in gleaning in the fields are central to the narrative. Redemption. Boaz serves as a symbol of redemption in the story. He redeems both the land and the widow, Ruth, as part of his role as a kinsman redeemer. This theme foreshadows the concept of spiritual redemption found in Christianity. God's providence. Throughout the book, there is a sense of God's providence guiding the characters' lives. Even in difficult circumstances, God is working behind the scenes to bring about blessings and prosperity. Inclusion of Gentiles. Ruth, a Moabite, becomes an integral part of the Israelite community. This demonstrates that God's grace and blessings are not limited to one specific group of people, but are extended to those from different backgrounds. Ancestry of King David. The Book of Ruth is included in the Bible's canon, in part, because it provides an important link in the genealogy of King David, a key figure in biblical history. The Book of Ruth is often studied for its literary beauty, its themes of faithfulness and redemption, and its historical significance within the larger narrative of the Bible. It remains a beloved and cherished story for its portrayal of love, faith, and the enduring power of kindness and loyalty.